welcome to another episode of Wholesale Hotties, where the ladies of real estate are talking about real estate. I'm your host, Sharon Lee Smith, and we're here again this week. Donda Mullinex, Kate Gomes, and Michelle coming at you. This week we're talking all about flipping, and guess who our special guest is? Our very own Donda Mullinex. Yay! We're so excited to interview you and highlight you today, Donda. Kate came up with a bunch of questions. I have a bunch of questions, and we just want to hear all about your flipping journey. Kate, take it away.
Well, I know pretty much nothing about it, so I need to know everything. I could just fire away. When did you start? How many have you done? What did you do before?
Oh gosh. Well, before I was working in the dental field, but I started looking back. I'm like, why do I have such a passion for doing this? It just, you got to find your passion. And I remember as a little girl too, that I was like, the girls would be playing with Barbies, but I would be like taking the cardboard boxes and designing like a home and furniture. And I was like, I was never that girl that wanted to play with Barbies and was shopping at the mall for clothes. I wanted to go to Home Depot. They wanted to go to
Well, then were you doing things with building and construction at a young age?
I would help my dad with projects at the house and stuff. Like I learned how to sheetrock with him, and I would like to take wood things and cut out shapes and sand them. And
fun.
I did like doing that kind of stuff. But I always, it was always there. Out of school, I got right in the dental field, and I started doing that. And worked in the dental field as an assistant, and then went to front office. Went to school to be a hygienist, but like, no, that's not my thing. So I had some prereqs for that, but I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Always just kind of was always looking at houses, going to open houses and the dream homes things, and just didn't know where I kind of fit in. And then had an opportunity in 2008 to buy a house from some friends who had bought it at an auction. And then they're like, we got too many projects going. I'm like, hey, I'll buy it. So I bought my first fix and flip and single gal.
2008, you said?
2008, yeah. And I was working full time and was working on the project. And then the only thing I hired out basically was, I was cutting tile and we installed.
Oh, wow. Look at you go. You're a badass woman.
Hired a few things out, but most of it, done. I was dating a guy at the time and he helped me with it, but still it was just like, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Took longer, of course, because doing it yourself, working full time, but and sold it in December 2008 and I made money and I wanted to go do it again. Went to the bank again because I didn't know about all these creative ways of financing. And so I went to the bank and they're like, we're not giving out loans right now. And I'm like, well, why not? Watch the news. And I'm like, why? What happened? I was like, why are you penalizing me? I paid my loan off. I'm ready to Anyhow, so I took a hiatus from that, but then I ended up in 2010 buying some piece of land at a auction at the city, the courthouse. Oh, cool. Yeah, bought a piece of land there, and then I eventually resold that. Just a guy who was going to build a duplex on it, and bought a couple rental houses. That was my little door knocking story. But then I just always wanted to do more. And then I met my amazing husband, Jim, and he had worked in building homes and skyscrapers and stuff. And met him in 2015. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And little did I know that he was not interested at all. Fixing and flipping houses because he said, I remember you told him to build. Yeah, but I was like, my mom, I guess we first were dating, and I'm like, Jim's gonna help. We're gonna be able to fix and flip houses. And he goes, I just he was like, whatever you say. 5 years later, behold, he was fixing and flipping houses with me. The way it goes, right? Yeah. We did our first together in Portland, Oregon. And it was a lot of fun.
Nice. So how many have you and Jim done together?
Jim and I have done together, oh gosh, what have we, just under a dozen. We started and we couldn't get it, we did the one there, and then we did another one at mobile home in Vancouver, Washington. We were in Oregon, Portland area at that time. And we had other stuff he was doing because he was also decided to get his GC license and was doing projects and building ADUs, and he converted an old house to a chiropractic clinic. And so, yeah, so we were doing those and we were having fun, and then COVID hit, and took a hiatus from that. Yeah. So we and then we ended up coming down to Arizona to visit a friend, and we sold everything, moved down to Bullhead City, Arizona, and we did a few of our fix and flips there as well. And we had a good time. And
so did that become your main source of income?
It did. It really did when we were in Bullhead. Yeah, we had bought when we sold our house up in the Portland area, we bought a place down by the Colorado River, which is now in the summertime, we use it as a short-term rental because it's by the river. We like to go play on the river, and it's a little.
Gotta get out of the heat.
I know, and it's a cute little A-frame, and it does really well. And then right now, we just had our traveling nurse. She'll be in there probably through May, through the winter months.
Oh, nice.
We do midterm during winter months. Yeah. So it's great. And then the summer we have it to go run away and go play. And then, and then when I got here, we traveled for about a year and a half, and then we got here. Jim asked where I wanted to land, and I said Phoenix because we had joined Sub 2, and I was like, what better place to be than with the community? And so got here, and he's like, well, let's hold off till we find out where we're going to be, because we were just in a midterm rental, but you know how spouses don't usually listen to one another. Well, he came home one day and I go, I bought a house.
Oh, no. So much for communication.
Yeah. But it was a mobile home in a park. I thought they wanted 50 grand. I offered 25. They took it, even though the agent
Oh my gosh. Wait, what town is that in?
That was Tempe.
In Tempe, you can get a mobile home for $25,000 still?
Well, I did. They had turned down an offer. Well, they turned an offer down previously for $36,000. She goes, they already turned an offer down. They're not going to take less. I'm like, well, that's all I'm going to offer them. And it's sitting here. And I said, here, we're going to do a walkthrough video and take some photos, because the owner never lived in it. He had a brother that lived in it. And I said, let's send him how bad in shape this place is, because he doesn't realize it was raining. It actually rain coming through the ceiling. I mean, we had work to do. So
that was so smart of you, because I think often the sellers don't really know what's going on with the home or with the sale of it.
Right? Absolutely, especially with those absentee owners. They don't really realize how severe the rehab costs really are, and the rehab that's necessary to get it livable, never mind like flip ready,
Right. So and well, go ahead.
Oh, how did you guys make out on that one? So you bought it for 25. Do you remember what you put into it? Or
35, put 35 into it. And then we had another, what was it? Or 1, 2, 3, 30, about 3. Well, we ended up getting the check for $42,000 when all said and done.
Oh, in your pocket, you guys made $42,000.
Yes. Yeah,
that is amazing. What a fantastic return on $60,000. You made $40,000.
Yeah, it was. We did. Oh no, I had my PMP too. He was somebody I met through one of the TCs, and she's like, I got a cousin who's a dentist and he wants to invest. So I sent him the deal, and he's like, yeah, I'll fund the purchase and the rehab. So.
And so after paying him back too,
what a PMP is. Can you explain what a PMP is?
Yeah, it's a private money partner. So instead of just being
not a private money pimp, a private money partner.
Yes, I don't know. That's good money.
Oh my word! The things you do.
So yeah, he might be my future. So, and then my GC, I got a GC, even though my husband was able to do that kind of stuff. I got a GC that I partnered up with that was somebody I met at the WeWorks meetups because he saw Pace's Instagram and messaged Pace, and Pace responds to Instagram messages, and he said, go to a meetup, meet somebody, and try partnering up on a deal first. So we had met him. When first meeting he came to, Jim and I went out and met him, and he was kind of shy, and then we kept inviting him to things, and he kept coming around. And then one time he said, hey, I want to do a deal with you. And I had just got this, and I said, do you want to walk this property with me and do the GC part of it? Because that was his thing. And so we partnered up, and it worked out great. So him and I done another fix and flip, which is listed, and we bought a sub 2 deal. And he's my sub 2 partner on a holding property.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
do you feel, Donda, that you, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Kate.
No, go ahead.
Do you feel like as a woman in this industry, were there special things that you ran into that might have been more of a challenge and that you could have done differently, better, more effectively, or that were just perfectly fine, you just ran into a challenge and needed to pivot or something?
I mean, I think you're going to always run into challenges because no house is alike. You just, you know, there's going to always be those unexpected things you're going to run into. I remember the first one I did, I had to crawl under the house. Was never intended to crawl under a house, but I did.
Personal protection equipment.
Cover me up and everything.
That wasn't part of your childhood dream, was it?
No.
Sharon, we can't hear you for some reason.
Yeah, Sharon, you're muted. Are you there, Sharon? We lost you.
Sorry, am I good now? I said she's crawling under houses. Meanwhile, she's got pink neon signs behind her. That's so awesome. Good for you.
Oh yeah, you got to have the pink card hat, you know, right?
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, being a gal, I think in it, especially, I was real fortunate doing the first ones with Jim and stuff, and I had gotten my real estate license. Sorry, we have a puppy wanting to play. Got our real estate license, so I had knowledge in real estate, you know, enough. So for a newbie, especially, would you quit? Sorry.
That's okay.
That's what she does.
There's definitely a difference, right, between construction knowledge and real estate knowledge, right?
Yeah,
so how
you got to run your numbers. Yeah, you got to run your numbers. I mean, the first one I just did on, like, I really didn't know what I was doing, but the price of the house was right, and I knew, well, there's a good gap between what they're selling for in this area and what I paid for this. So this makes sense. I don't know, you know. And it worked out. But in 2018, Jim and I joined a mentorship, which cost a lot of money, but I did learn a lot through it and how to comp better and how to, you know, and I learned how to comp as an agent somewhat. With the experience, you learn a little bit more once you're actually doing it. Don't really teach that in school. The dogs are barking at each other.
That's okay. We're just going to ignore them and keep
I
going.
know. It's pretty funny. But so
were you a realtor in Portland?
No, in Washington State before I met Jim. I did that for a couple of years. I had a bar and restaurant and did that for a couple of years while I was doing that. So
sounds like a fun life.
yeah. That one I could let go of, but it got fun when I met Jim. He's really changed things and taken me to amazing places and stuff. So I've been very blessed on my second marriage. Yeah, he treats me very, very well. But yeah, I mean, there is definitely, it's a learning curve. It's like Paige says, it's learning a new language. It's like EMD, what? Oh, earnest deposit. Okay, you know, and I'll do like F/F, and people are like, what does that mean? I'm like, oh, fix and flip. That's my abbreviation of fix and flip. I don't want to have to type it and write it out every time, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
What type of system are you using for the actual flips themselves? Do you have like a software, or are you using just like Excel spreadsheets or QuickBooks or whatever to keep track of your expenses, to schedule your process, like the contractors and the stages of the game? What are you using? What are you doing?
Well, I'm using the Excel spreadsheet for my expenses and like the money, basically it's like I paid so-and-so X amount of dollars for installing the flooring or whatever. So I keep track of all that. I keep track of like the fees at the bank, wire fees. It all goes into that. So I know how the project's doing. And prior to that, I have a rehab one that is a rehab like 5 pages long. And it has like windows, how many windows and this and that. So you keep track, you try to like break down windows. And then instead of doing like a kitchen, if I have to do a full kitchen, it's so much easier because you just have a kitchen and a price. You figure out what your price is for the full kitchen, not including appliances, but, and you do your electrical, but you can kind of break it down, or you can do like a larger, like the full kitchen, or you can do like, I just need the countertops because the cabinets are fine, So
before you close on a property, then are you itemizing everything out yourself and figuring out all the costs?
That's what I was just going to ask. Are you running that estimate ahead of schedule or?
I'm doing that, yeah, before I even make my bid. When I first walk it, I take those sheets with me and we take pictures and we count the windows if we have to replace them, so we know how many windows to replace. Okay, this was a window we're going to take out and put a sliding glass door in. We're going to have to move the wall. How much square footage of flooring are we going to be replacing? Yeah, it's pretty itemized, and you want to have a pretty good thing. And then at the end of this, and it'll calculate everything for me. And then at the end, it has a spot where you can put like a contingency, because like I said before, something that always comes up. You're
Absolutely
always going to come up. It's so I always add the contingency. So I've gotten where I like learned to pad things at the beginning, because when you're doing your draws, like my demo cost, I usually make those higher, like double what they should be.
Oh, wow.
Just because when you go to get your draws, you want that money
for you to get to the next draw. Exactly.
So my items that I do at the very beginning, whatever we're going to be doing on that project, those are the ones I add a higher cushion to them. And then I have money to help cover the costs for the rest. And then I have my emergency at the end too. So I usually budget a little high.
Yeah. Do you do like a kind of 10% overall, more or less, or?
Yeah, typically. But if it's like a real old house where there could be a lot more issues, then I would go high, like 15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding the draws, I just talked to a lender a couple of days ago who, once you have 10 successful fix and flips on your record, they will do advances rather than draws.
Yep.
Yeah, like this one we're doing right now, they give us an advance to get started. So as soon as we get the property closed, they give us X amount of dollars up front to get started. They give us
but it's still a draw thing, right? It's just your first,
and then the rest comes up. You got to show that you did all that, and then some other stuff too. So then they're like, okay, here we're going to give you, another 20,000 or whatever to depending on the breakdown. Yeah. So yeah, and this company that we've been using, they have somebody that comes out and verifies that you actually did it, because I guess people have scammed them before. They're like, oh yeah, send them pictures. Here's a picture of the house and all the things we did. Well, it wasn't even that. So yeah.
Were you ever scared to get into them? Like, I'm just thinking about what somebody who's new to this would be going through if they're considering fixing and flipping. Like, was it just you knew you wanted to do it and you did it, or was it a lot of
first one? I just didn't know any better. Just like, the house, was cheap, and it was like $105,000. I think I paid for it. But the one in Portland, when we were buying, you're buying a house that is like, it was 1905 or 1923. And it was old, and the attic, and it was like periwinkle and pink, and walls were going to have to be moved. And we have to pay $375,000 for this thing. Oh wow! Because when we came from Yakima to there, it was like, that's a big shock. I'm like, I could get a really nice house back where I came from for this. So that kind of money, and you got to watch your holding costs, because I know I had a friend here. She's like, let's do this project. It's like $1 million house. I'm like, do you know what our holding costs per month are going to be? We're looking at like $10,000 a month.
Right. People don't understand the holding cost.
Yeah.
So talk to that just a minute about that. So when you get a hard money loan, right, you're getting the purchase price up front. And let's say you're in one of these where you can get your initial draw up front too. Now what? Now you're paying.
But also hard money loan, you don't typically get the entire purchase price up front, right? Like your very first deal might be,
they're typically
70%.
like 80%. Yeah. Well, yeah, your first deal probably 70, but they're typically
yes, you have
about
to
80
have a
90%.
down payment.
Right.
Correct. Right.
When your first payment comes due, it's interest only, but it's like a 10% interest. Well, and that's good for,
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm
So that's
seeing
what we're
between
paying.
12 and 15 right now on average.
Yeah, so we're getting ours at 10%, but that's because of the experience and stuff too. So
and also credit score factors a lot to that. I think once you get over 720, you can get into the 10s pretty easily for interest rates.
Yeah, and then you'll find some that don't even do credit scores, but a lot of them do. Most of them do. They still want to make sure, you're going to pay back.
You're going to pay them.
Yeah. And I get it. I get it. But so the holding costs can add up. I mean, you got your utilities and you got those interest payments that are high. Plus you got your private money lender who gave you the money to get in that 10% or 20% or whatever that you needed to get in there with in your closing costs. So they want their money too. And those are typically higher, 12, 14%, because they're in second position, or they're just basically on a promissory note that they're trusting that you're going to fulfill this payment to them. And most of those will do it. You don't have to make any payments to them until the end, but you will find them occasionally, like in the one in Scottsdale, we have to make monthly payments to her, but she had a big chunk of money she had to put up front for that. So, but so
I'm still blown away that you walked away with $40,000 with a $60,000 investment. So that $40,000 is after paying your private money lender and paying the contractor.
Yeah, no, that was, we split the 42. It was 42,000. We split that. So
between the three of you, or
between the three of us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So everybody had basically a third equity.
Yeah. We just did that because I just wanted to, for one, I hear so many horror stories with women, especially, that getting a contractor to actually show up. Taking advantage of people. I mean, there's so many out there scamming people right now. I just walked a property yesterday that's in a short sale. We're looking at buying, and she had most of her bathroom totally redone. It looks beautiful, but she said, I paid him the last part up front and he never came back. And here's what it is without the faucets and all the shower heads.
Never pay up front.
No. So she didn't get that project finished, unfortunately. The tile guy did a great job, but the plumber's the one who screwed her over, unfortunately. So it happens a lot. So you always want to hold on to that last part of that money before you pay them. And
What else do you find as a woman? I really find that happens often. Either they think that you don't have a clue what you're doing, right? I've been in construction since 1996. Don't tell me I don't know what I'm doing, right? And especially some of the technical stuff, right? 15 years of that was in an HVAC company, and so
kind of know
I had an HVAC contractor, I've already looked at this unit. I know all it needs is a $3 fuse. And he comes out and he tries to tell me I need a whole new control panel.
Oh my God.
I go, motherfucker, get on that van and pull up a fuse and switch it and then tell me I'm wrong. And you better believe he did. But he was trying to sell me on $2,500 worth of stuff because I have kids. I must not know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Wow. So
it happens a lot.
Come across that?
It happens a lot. I heard a lot, when I was at the Super Bowl party last year with Pace's group, and then there were several gals in there I'm on my 5th contract. I can't get this project done. And I'm you guys just make them have skin in the game. If they have skin in the game, they're going to want to get that thing done. They aren't, they're just if they have skin in the game and they don't get paid until that's done, whether you bring them on as a partner or not, just try to get a contract that holds them more liable with you. And here's the dates, the timelines, and I'm holding you to these. And if not, then I'm going to discount the pay. What we're doing, it's going to get
golden. That's golden.
Yeah, and I mean, if they come across something that like, hey, I told you I was going to have this plumbing done, but now I found some mold here. Yeah, I mean, you got to give them grace on something like that because you got to do some other stuff.
Sure.
But
that's
but
what
not
change
for them
orders are for.
Yeah, but not for them just not to show up for 2 or 3 weeks and like, oh
Right.
yeah, I got this other project. I'll get to you when I can. But it's like
Exactly.
no, yeah. So
Yeah.
hold them accountable. There's contracts you can use to help with that. Interviewing them, you know, a good way to do it is like have an open house and just let them know you're going to be bidding jobs and have them all give them a spec sheet of
I
what
like
you
to
want.
have them show up all at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Three plumbers in the door. All y'all are giving me a quote. You better be on time. You better get me what I want. Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and making sure they clean up each day after a project. You don't want them just to
Lord,
leaving
huge.
stuff laying down. Yeah, it's just there's just so many things.
Especially when you're dealing with a hard money lender, because I've had them like, we'll take pictures because such and such is done or whatever, and they're like, but the site is a mess. It can't be done. You're still in the middle of what you like, you know what I mean? So like
Right.
the cleanliness shows the completion of that particular stage of your process. And for someone like a lender that isn't boots on the ground and in the thick of it, they're seeing just a mess. And so I think that's super important to make sure that's in your contract is cleanup, daily cleanup, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, like you said, you just like put that in your list of things you expect them to do, and they can easily send you a photo of whoever he's got in charge. Just like, hey, have him here's my number. Have him do a Zoom, just a quick, not a Zoom, but a quick face-to-face, you know,
FaceTime or something like that.
FaceTime, yeah. Here's what we did today. Here's the project, and everything's clean. Because even you can have a hard time getting your demo costs covered because they're like, well, you haven't got rid of all your garbage. Yeah, you demoed, but that you got so much garbage.
Exactly.
So yeah, and then people tripping over it, and you just don't need people that in your way.
Yeah, it becomes an insurance safety hazard issue too. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
Have you ever had? Go ahead, Kate.
Oh, I was just wondering, what's been one of your favorite projects?
One of my favorite, it probably would be the one we did in Portland, the big one that was that 1900, that god awful periwinkle pink house, because I mean, it was like
periwinkle pink. That's our background.
It was the ugly house in the neighborhood. It was the one that people are like, thank you so much for painting.
You probably turned it out to the best house in the neighborhood, huh?
Yeah, because we actually widened the driveway, put in new concrete driveway. We moved the front door. We put in dormers and made the whole upstairs a master suite. And yeah, like we had agents that came and walked. Like, this looks like a spa bathroom. What color paint is this? I want, it's like, it was just like Jim and I would just like to go hang out in it. It was like,
oh, nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us some of your biggest challenges that you've come across.
Oh, it's been the property in Mesa. We didn't have this much problem in Oregon with permitting.
The one that's on the market right now?
Yeah, the one we have on the market right now is in Scottsdale. It's done.
Okay.
We got in on that one, and that one got done quickly and done very nicely. Very happy with it. It's showing really well. Just haven't got an offer yet, so keep praying for that. But
so tell us the Mesa story.
The Mesa story is a house that we bought before we bought the Scottsdale one. And so, like, here's always the good, and then here's the bad, and here's the ugly. This is the ugly. So we bought it.
Girl.
I know, right? We bought it, and we had asked the city, can we do that back shop? Can we turn that into a casita? And they're like, oh yeah, no problem. That's what they had in back there before, but they didn't permit it. So we had them take out the walls, and they couldn't rent it out anymore because they didn't get it permitted. And they're like, okay, well, so if we get it permitted and have put the walls back and all that, it's okay to have a casita back here. And they're like, yeah. All right. So we did our due diligence, did all that. So we get our loan. The front house is a 3-2. We wanted to convert it, the 1-car garage, we want to convert into extra living space or make it another bedroom. So it'd be a 4-2. I mean, or you could even do 2 more bedrooms in there if you want to do co-living with it. So then it would become a 5-2. But so anyhow, we talked to them about that, and they're like, yeah, you can do that, but you have to wait until the 1st of September because the laws are changing and we'll be doing this. Otherwise, you have to build a carport because you're taking away the garage space. And we're like, I see a lot of houses in our neighborhood that they already converted their living space into a garage. So all this stuff starts coming out after the fact, you know, and we're new to the area. We didn't really know Mesa, hadn't done a project Mesa. And then you go through the back door and then there's a cement wall with a gate and it looks like 2 separate lots. So here's and the back one has an alley access and it's about the same square footage as our airframe. It's like 754 square feet or something, 58 and we wanted to convert that into a 3-1. And they said first yes, and then they said no, because you can't, your square footage on the roof of your house with that, you can't have that much square footage back there, but the law's going to change, so you can have something bigger, you know, September 1st, all these laws are changing, but nobody tells you all of that. So we waited till September, and then Jim took in the permits and had all the things redrawn, and then went back in there with them. And he's like, how is this? Are all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed? Do you have everything on here that you could possibly need? Because it takes them 2 weeks, and they wait 2 weeks before they get back to you. So they say, yeah, up to 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks all the time. So he goes in there with it, and then 2 weeks later, like, right, can we get started? And they're like, oh no, your square footage isn't right because that's a garage, and you can't have that building can't be that big, and this and that. I mean, it was just one thing after another, and it was constantly one person would change their mind, and then you go in and the other one would say, no, we're like, this guy just said we have to do this, and now we're ready to go 2 weeks later, and now you're telling me we can't. And Jim went in there one time and just blew his lid.
Did that help, or did it make it worse?
Actually, because he asked the guy, he's like, yeah, you're really ready to go, just one more thing. And Jim's like, okay, can I get this in writing, please? I keep asking. And this guy's like, I can't get it in writing, but my manager can. So he calls her in. She's like, no, he can't do that because he has to cut part of that roof line back because the roof's too big, because you can't. And Jim's like, I've been going through this for months, and now I'm just being told I have to cut part of the shop out to make it smaller. He goes, well, then that'll just leave that roof line, so it'll be a covered patio. And then once this law changes again, they can enclose it. And she's like, no, you actually have to cut that roof. We're like, we're not cutting the roof line back. And he was so upset. I remember and then he says they start laughing, and he's like, you guys, this isn't funny. You guys have been stringing along on this for months, and this is somebody's livelihood that you're really dealing with. I don't think you guys realize how serious this is.
I think municipalities can actually be sued over that, right? Because not that you ever want to have to go there, but they're
not that we're ever going to win
with livelihood. Yeah.
Right. So,
and then once you piss them off, they're never approving a permit for you again.
That's
right?
the problem.
This very much sounds like the city of Norfolk. You just don't ever want to piss off Phil.
Don't piss off the referee
guy, and you don't want to piss off Phil because you'll never get a permit again in Norfolk. It's insane.
Right. So this guy's walking by, and Jim's like, "Sir, can you help me?" Well, he happened to be the manager. He was their boss.
Oh, and he's Phil. Okay, good.
So Jim got the guy over these two guys, this guy and gal, and he said, this is what's been going on for months. This is what I've been going on. He's like, here, Jim, here's my card. Call me. I'm walking out right now to go walk a property, but call me and send me all your stuff. And he's been very helpful. And so we finally got our permit.
Congratulations.
But yeah, it took how many months to get it. And so now we're able to move forward. And I talked to some other people too, like the Bash Bros. They got a property in Mesa, and they're having issues with permits. And I talked to another gal. She bought a property, made it a pad split. She's had permit problems in Mesa. And I'm like, I need to how do I put this out to the world? Dealing with Mesa, is city of Mesa.
You got to let the manager know, right?
So the holding costs on that, that adds up. You have to pay that interest every month. And
so how many months in are you now?
That was in June.
Wait a minute. Is that one sold and done now, or you still have
No, we just got our permits.
Oh my gosh. So you purchased in June.
From June.
The end of June. 1st of July.
Then is your hard money loan good for a year?
Yeah.
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 And your private money, or do you?
Our private money is not, but we've been communicating with him. It was 6 months, but Jim is like, hey, another issue with the permit again. He kept him informed what was going on, and he's been really cool about it. So, but you know, we still got to pay his interest on that and his money. So,
yeah.
And our
So
partner.
is that killing the deal essentially? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. What were you going to say?
Is that like killing your deal essentially? Because
Well,
after a while, like your interest is there's all your profit.
Well, we bought it at right under, what did we buy it at? We bought it at, okay, so when I did my comps, it came in at 510 and it appraised at 500. And so, and we bought it we bought it at 295. So we have a big gap on it. So
the ARV was 500, or
the ARV, the comp, appraisal. We actually had it appraised.
In the current condition, it was worth 500.
No, we had it appraised for the possibility. We told them this is what we're going to be doing to it, making this a casita and this the home. The home next door had sold just right before we bought it, and it had it definitely, the house itself had a lot of value to grow with it. It was a smaller house, ours, but with converting that other living space, we were going to increase the value of that one would be equal to, and that one the one next door was like 4 something. I can't remember what it was right off the top of my head, but then adding the casita value, she said, yeah, 500 with no problem with that. So when we got the appraisal, so that gave us a good cushion. So, and our numbers were, the rehab costs were under 100. So we still had a good cushion there. So we still thought, and this is when we were going to actually hold, because the Banner Bank is right around the corner from Banner Hospital. One of their trauma centers is right there. And I have a friend who's a nurse. We were going to rent it out to nurses. And that was our intent with our partner. And then he kind of got in a financial bind, and he's like, can we just fix and flip this and sell it? I just need to pull my money back out. So that's kind of been going on with him as well. So we were trying to sell it just as is, but continue to work on it. But we didn't want to even list it until we got a permit, because we don't have somebody else in the same bind we were in.
Yeah.
So we've got Stevie Brown. She's with the Sub 2 community. She just put it on investor list for us like this, but we're going to continue to work on it just so that we can get, I don't want somebody to be in a bad position or ever. And then with him, because that was our intent as partners, was to hold that property, but he's changed the exit on us, which is fine. I mean, life happens, and I get it.
So you might take it to completion, but if you get a good enough offer along the way, you'll also sell it.
Yeah. So we're just leaving it open and just continue to work forward on it. And maybe we will buy it in DSR, DSCR loan for it, and and hold it as a midterm rental, or there's no HOA, which is great, or some type of co-living or something. So just not sure how this one's going to play out, but there are other opportunities with it. So
it just shows that you can pivot when something's not working in a direction that you originally anticipated. Sometimes you just have to pivot and change that, and having the knowledge that you have, Donda, and the ability to see different aspects and different ways that you can monetize still, or be whole still, in changing to co-living, or selling it to another investor, or different ways that you can kind of map and walk through that makes a huge difference but that's experience, that's learning, and that's being a part of doing that. And then you become more familiar and more likely to be able to determine, oh, hey, I could do this, or I could do that.
Well, and you gave me a really good idea too, Monique, when you talked about the sober living, because you guys had to pivot on a property as well, I believe, right?
Yes, we did. So we have a clean and sober living spot, and it was a pretty big house, and getting it rented back then was a little bit difficult. So we had a family member who was struggling in life and had gotten his life back together, and he said, you know what, I know a lot of people right now, and they need homes. They don't have anywhere to go. Let's open this up. And I kind of fought it at first, thinking, oh, that's going to be a lot of management. But we found a really amazing manager. He's phenomenal, and he takes care of the guys. And he actually works at the local food bank, so he has food for them all the time, and different resources for the guys as they come in. So it can be a revolving door at times, And other times we got some long-term people there that just want to stay. And it's a 10-bedroom house that
Wow.
yeah, it's a pretty big house. And we put some of them, I think we have 4 singles and in the manager room, and then the rest are doubles.
Yeah.
And we have one big room where we put the guys who are coming in from prison.
Yeah.
Or from jail.
Wow.
Mhm.
See, that's so cool. Yeah, so that gave me some other ideas too. So just talking to people, being in a community like this adds so much value, because I hadn't thought about that until Monique had told me that not too long ago. So it just kind of opens up your eyes to educating yourself, to getting other exit strategies. Yeah.
And there are so many.
And Donda,
yeah.
you also have now people that you can go to and say, hey, I decided to do this. You know how. What do you recommend? What were your pitfalls? Where did you fall down? Where can you see that, what would you recommend I do so that I don't run into maybe some of the same issues that you ran into that weren't successful, or what's most successful and stuff like that.
Right, and potentially finding another private money partner to buy out the one that wants out and come back in with you and kind of handhold you along the way so you learn your next thing.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic.
Yeah. So
be able
now that we got a permit, we're going to start marketing it some more in different aspects like that. There's different exits. So if we can exit him out and we stay in, we could sub to our loan right now and let somebody just take over the project.
Now, how does that work with permits though? Because the permits are in your name. They would have to use the same GC, right? Which is Jim, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the permits, I'm sure they would just use the same permit and stuff, because the permit is, with them being a partner, you actually can do, as one of the owners, you can actually do a lot of the work yourself. So they do have some leniency there. You don't have to have a hired GC to do a lot of this stuff. So if their name's on there and they come in as a partner, then we could pretty much do it.
But I guess I was asking if someone just bought it and started it, they would have to go through their whole permits process themselves, right?
I think we can pass the part. I think you can I think we could pass the permit on because it's already been approved. Really? Yeah. Because I think Jim was checking on that too, because that was a conversation we had. But I was pretty sure that since it's been allowed to do that at that property. Now, if they want to do something different than when we have the plans for, and we would give them, here's the plans, this is what it's permitted for. If they we want to add some more bedrooms or whatever, then they would have to.
Right, that's a whole other animal. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Then they would have to go do that.
Donda, when you have a private money partner and a hard money loan, and you're dividing everything up in thirds, right? The private money person gets a third of the profits. Are they also the responsible person on the hard money loan, or are you doing that yourself?
On this one, they actually, I'm not even on the loan. This one is with Jim and the other partner. They're on the loan of this one.
The money partner?
The money partner, yeah. He was going to be, like I said, we were going to hold it and be 50-50. They were going to be 50-50 partners on that. Yeah. So that's how that one played out. And then we have the hard money. So the house, and we're responsible for paying that back first. And then our private money partner, of course, is more in second. So any money that partner brought in, he's at risk at losing his. He's the last one on the totem pole to get paid. So if there's a loss there, unfortunately, we would have to, work with him on that. But
there won't be though.
No. And we just, our first person, the private money lender, the hard money gets paid first, the private money lender would get paid second, and then the partner gets paid back on his portion. So like I said, if there's any loss, it would come out of our pockets, and we would have to figure that out with him. So
But so you've been doing depending on the deal, sometimes maybe you're on the loan and sometimes maybe the money partner's on the loan. Does it just depend every time?
Like the other one that I did, I was the homeowner, like in the trailer house. It was under my name only, and then he was just my private money partner. We did a JV agreement. Yeah. So it just depends on how they want to structure it, where they're comfortable with it, I guess.
So a JV agreement meaning a joint venture agreement.
Yes. Yeah. We all had our own LLCs, so we didn't combine our LLCs. We did that once. Ended up doing it's a lot of work to do that, and then have one property. We did with somebody in Bullhead. And we kept wanting to go forward, and they were just kind of wanting to step back. And so it was just like, well, we shouldn't have had an LLC created for that. If I would have known about joint venture agreements, I would have definitely used that, especially until you know on the first few that this is going to work out well or not. Then, because like the one I've done on the mobile home in the Scottsdale property, my GC guy that we actually did for our holding, we got an LLC for the holding the property that we bought sub to. So the other ones have been joint agreements. Yeah.
So, Donda, where are you going with this flipping business? Are you going to scale your flipping business? Are you going to get into new construction and land deals? Or are you looking at flipping as maybe just kind of a stepping stone to get into other things like sober living or like, multifamily investing? Or what are your goals? Where are you guys going with this?
Yeah. Well, it's, like wholesalers, that's their today money. Fix and flipping is kind of my today money.
Right.
Because wholesaling is not, if I come across property and it doesn't work for me, I would probably wholesale it. But I get a lot of my, I get deals from on market and wholesalers. So I'm not really one out there looking off market. I get people to bring me deals. So I don't have to spend my time trying to do that as well.
Yeah.
Right. Which is good.
Yeah.
You can't do it all. But if I came across something
today money, so what's your next step? What's your legacy?
Holding properties. We've got a couple of long-term rentals also with our short-term and midterm one. We'd like to hold more properties, so build our portfolio for retirement. And my ultimate goal would be to help homeless teens and kids coming out of the foster care. And I think Kate and I talked about that at one of the Scottsdale.
Expand on that some.
That's actually how we met, because we both had that same interest. So, So where
buying, the co-living bigger apartments or old schools or something that can allow us to house kids and get them off the street so they can finish high school. They can get them on their feet, get them jobs, find out what their goals are, give them dreams back, teach them about financial literacy, because then there's some in that owners club that want to focus on teaching kids this type of stuff so that they don't end up on the streets, and that they can stop that generational curse, from keep going on. And
you also don't have to have a college education. I know that can be something intimidating for young kids who don't have family to help them, that you can just remove that barrier. You don't have to go to college. You can do different things.
Right.
Man, if Jim could bring him even under him as apprentice workers, learning framing, learning sheetrock, learning, HVAC, whatever.
We are talking to a company here called Handy Services and doing that, because he has a house and he works with people coming out of prison, and we've talked about working together on that, combining our Maricopa Casitas business we have and this. And then I thought, well, maybe this house was more of a God thing, where this house wasn't done because we weren't able to sell it, because maybe we need to convert this into one of those homes to help us. So I'm not even really stressed about it, but most people would be like freaking out, but I just I don't know. I just have this peace over me. Like, I don't know what's supposed to happen with this house, but there's something about it,
Exactly.
It's going to be something amazing, huh?
Yeah. And I found out from a church here locally, I was telling them about this also, and they said, oh, you need to reach out to this company. It's like it's a school that tries to get teach kids a trade. It's a trade school, and they're helping funding stuff and housing with these kids and stuff. So I'm getting connections and stuff. So I'm like, oh, and they're like, yeah, they're out.
You might be able to. Exactly. You might be able to find a program that is doing that and will give you a grant for that. And that grant can pay out your private money partner that wants out. And now you've alleviated that. And now you've got them, you're in control of the whole project, and you're working with them, with their kids and their stuff. So.
And that's a really great idea, Sharon, adding that to it. And Donda, one of the things that actually I have been looking at also is apprenticeship for all these kids that are in our community, these teens. and being able to have something to look forward to than, being in debt when they get out of college, or I don't know what I want to do, but having the owners that own businesses or that in construction or GCs, taking these kids and doing those apprenticeships that Sharon talks about, and putting them in positions where they can learn a whole new concept and being an entrepreneur, and what does that look like, and what value can I bring as a young person, because they're very bright, and I've got one guy in one of my masterminds, 18 years old. His girlfriend got pregnant when they were younger, and his parents told me how to get a job or he had to do something, and I don't even remember the whole story, but he ended up starting his own window washing business, and he just told us he's 18 now, and he's young, and he's got his whole business all mapped out, and he's going to do his first like $13,000 day. And you think about that wow, crazy. And he's subbing all this work out to other window washing people, and making doing so well for himself at that age. And when they have the opportunity, or they see something and they know they can do something like that, it's amazing what these teenagers can do. And I even have one that's 16, and he's on the No One Left Behind challenge, and he's got his own window washing business. He's going to talk to this other guy, and hey, how do you do that? And and because he's learning from us and learning how to do community business, basically, and partner up on different challenges and different things that we're running into, instead of, it's not about doing it all on our own. You want 100% of one business, or you want 10% of 10 businesses, and now you got people that you can collaborate with, and be smarter. Two brains are better than one, as always. So,
100%. That's what we found out too when we were trying to do it ourselves in 2018. We just never could get any momentum, and then it's like everybody kind of don't want to share their secrets for your success, because it's like a competition, and you get involved in community.
What was the barrier? Like, why do you think you were not getting traction?
Because we were doing everything. We were trying to find the property. We were doing all the work.
And you didn't know it all.
Yeah.
We weren't skilled at every single one, or didn't have a passion for all of them. I got to do this part because it has to be done. Yeah. Instead of like, no, you're good at this. You know what you're doing. You do that part of it.
Right. And it's just like, don't try to do it all. It's just, you just get so, and then when you're done, you're like, oh, I need a break. I don't want to start, So I think
it's great to be setting up a program like that, where you're working with teens aging out of foster care, or teens in trouble, and that maybe they've dropped out of school, maybe they got their girlfriend pregnant, maybe like all these things, and man, there's hope. There is a way out, and a lot of them turn to drugs or alcohol or all other kinds of destructive things, because they just don't have hope. And so programs like that you're talking about doing, that gives them that hope, that vision for, oh my gosh, I can, I will have a life, I will have a future, I will have a job,
building these kids up and letting them know that they have value, versus somebody I've been around these kids. I've taken kids in on our own. My kids were in high school, and there's like, their families don't even call to check on them. Like, they're like, how would you not know your kid's living with a stranger and not even want to find out who are they living with? How are they doing? It's just like their lives, they're so busy with their own life or their whatever's going on that they just don't even focus on these kids. And you've got to just let them know they're loved and build them up and find their dreams. Let them have a dream again,
and give them hope.
100%.
Yeah. So Donda, tell people where they can find you, where are you looking to buy, and where can people send you deals?
Okay. Well, you can reach me on my Instagram channel, or it's at Help Me Donda, Donda. Help Me Donda. Help Me Rhonda. Yeah. You can send me deals. Also there, I've got the helpmedonda@gmail.com. And you can reach out to me anytime. We're buying in the Phoenix area because that's where we're at now. My husband would love to own properties in Florida, but I'm just not ready for that right now. Because let's just focus in our backyard. There's enough to do here right now. So, and
yeah. Are you buying anywhere in Maricopa County?
pretty much, if it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we ended up buying a sub-2 deal that I wasn't even looking for. So it just came to me.
And you're flipping it?
No, that one we're leasing it right now. Yeah, we're holding it. We're leasing it. We're getting $1,000 a month on it, and then
wow.
Yeah, that one's making good money. I'm like, can I do that again?
Yeah, right. How did you find that one?
A door knocker in sub-2 that brought it to me and just said, "Hey, are you interested?" And I'm like, "What are the numbers?" I mean, I didn't even run a whole lot of it, but I just ran enough real quick. I'm like, I think I am. So give me a little bit of time to see if I can find a buyer. And I reached out to my GC, who is Hispanic, and it's a very nice home in a higher end Hispanic area. So we partnered up. He found the buyer. He actually even brought the money to the closing money because it was a pre-foreclosure divorce situation. So
nice.
So
congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's all about the relationships, huh? If you have that person, then
being in rooms with these people, get out there and meet people, go to your REI meetups. If you know you're not involved in a community, they're everywhere throughout the US. So I would definitely recommend that for a place to start.
Awesome. Ladies, do you have any final things to ask Donda?
I was wondering, have you taken steps to do things with the youth? Because I feel like I heard you say something about that before, but.
Yeah, I just we finally focused and got settled here. And like I said, talking over there at this church last Sunday, I was talking to the pastor there about my thing. And he gave me, they've got a program too there that he recommended. It's called Chosen in the Arizona, Phoenix area. So I'm going to reach out to them and start dealing with that and stuff. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to not give up on that house out there. I'm going to try to find out that, get more information on that area where he was telling me about, to see if I can get that program and see what we can do with that Mesa house. So yeah, it might be a small one to start with, but eventually I'd like to get hotels and schools and be able to have, and like with Ann McNamara in those areas, maybe those zones, we can get grants to revitalize some areas that you can take and make some housing for these kids.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
it's an amazing dream.
All right. Well, we're getting to the end of the hour. So, Donda, it's been awesome to get to interview you and to highlight you and all that you're doing. And we love you so much. And we're so glad that you're part of our podcast. Normally,
we miss you, Angie. Yeah, we miss Angie tonight.
Totally miss Angie tonight.
And her funny voices.
I know.
Soundboard.
I love that thing. That's
We'll have her next week, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Next week's not Christmas, right? We got one more.
No. Next week we have Reagan Sauna Bend on.
That's right.
Talking about buy and holds, and I believe she does a lot of executive rentals.
Reagan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect.
But we're still going live the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's because it's the day after of each. So we'll be going right on through.
Perfect. I'll be up in Washington State for the Christmas week. So seeing families. Maybe we'll have snow and I can show you. Today's is like 70 degrees and then up there I'll be in the park.
One extreme to the next.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed hearing your story, Donda.
Well, thanks, ladies.
You're doing amazing with those fix and flips.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I'll be looking for another one here soon.
Awesome. Well, have a good night. Nice to see everyone on the stream. We'll talk to you later. See you
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
See you soon.